What's up, people? My name is Straight Shootin LJA, and welcome to the Straight Shootin Rants. Now, in this episode of the Straight Shootin Rants, I'd like to talk about bare minimums and congratulating people for them. Now, there are so many people in this world who get congratulated for bare minimums, and to be perfectly honest, I think it's an absolute disgrace. Like, let's take, for instance, if you're say a father, for instance, I'll take that example. It's a bit close to home, and you're supposed to have your kids, say, let's take it once a month for a weekend, and it's one of them ones where, yeah, it's like yeah, you're not with your partner anymore, and all that kind of good stuff. And it's one of them where you take your kids once a month and then you put on social media, oh, look what I'm doing, oh, look, I'm doing so much with my kids, trying to make yourself look like father of the year. And you're doing it because you want the congratulations, you want the props for it. And I look at that as like, well, guess what, son? You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to raise your kids. If you make kids, ye shall raise kids. It's one of them ones. It's one. I mean, I love the fact that some seem to enjoy reveling in doing bare minimums. I look at our government. Look at Boris Johnson. When his partner had their child, and it's like, I'm so proud of this, da 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 da. And it's like, dude, like, you should be proud as a bare minimum, and also take care of your other kids too. So yeah. and in regards to Boris Johnson, it's like, you look at this country and the way it has reacted, because there's been no time where this country's been proactive when it comes to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. It's a case of, you look at how reactive and so slowly as well, in terms of just doing the bare minimums. Stuff like the faux lockdown, as I've been calling it. And it's one of them where it's like, that was the bare minimum you should have done. And it's and stuff like 4 months late, a day late and a dollar short. 4 months later, now it's mandatory if you're going to shops or supermarkets to wear masks. It's like, that's a bare minimum that should have been that should have been instituted from the middle of March, if not early April at the earliest. But people congratulate, oh yeah, that's a very good move. Yeah, we need to get the economy started. We need people out again. And it's like, no, why are you congratulating them for that? It's like this whole thing with the government saying, oh, we couldn't have handled it any better. And it's like, no, you could have. You've botched bare minimums. The fact that the pubs opened before the gyms was just absurd. It's like, the bare minimums, it's like, okay, what do we want people to do? Go and get drunk, go and get liquored up? Or do we want them to go to the gym and be healthy and boost their immune systems naturally for a good workout? Yeah, let's open the pubs. And it's like, no. Like, bro, no. That's not the way you do this. But yet, lo and behold, that's happened. And then wearing face masks. Oh, you got to wear face masks on TfL. And it's like, on buses, tubes, overground and that. And it's like, yeah, but what about shops and supermarkets? And then a month and a half later, oh, you now have to do it in shops and supermarkets. It's like, oh, for God's sake. It's like, these bare minimums they've been getting wrong. And I mean, there's the whole PPE scandal with the delay of PPE, and Boris Johnson missing the Cobra meetings, missing 3 months worth of Cobra meetings and that. It's like, no, we're fine, and it's like, dude, no, you're failing basic minimums, even communication. Even communication of, look at the as I speak now, the local lockdowns that are going on up north in Lancashire and Yorkshire. That was announced on Twitter at like 10:30 at night, and it was to come into force like an hour and a half later. And it's like, what about the businesses who were supposed to open the next day? And it's like, Christ on, but it's like I said, bare minimums have been botched. And people are still like, no, this is the right thing to do. Oh, he's done the right thing. No, he's botched bare minimums. And speaking of bare minimums, the BBC. BBC are hilarious, where it's like, for years, it had been said that they lost the tapes to the Real McCoy. And what a great show it was and is. Still as relevant today as it was back in 91. They said they had always maintained, the BBC had always maintained that they'd lost the tapes. But George Floyd is murdered. The Black Lives Matter protests happen. And in the middle of July 2020, guess what happens? The BBC come out and say, oh yeah, we're gonna re-release the Real McCoy on the iPlayer at the end of July. I think July 29th was the exact date. And it's like, wait, hold on. You spent 20 years saying that those tapes were lost. So all of a sudden, miraculously, you found them. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You may think I'm an idiot, but just don't talk to me like I'm one. Because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Bandwagon jumping. And as glad as I am to see the Real McCoy back, you got to look at, say, Felix Dexter, who's passed away. You got to look at Robbie G, Luella Gideon, who could have been making money from the royalties from that show for 30 years. That's 30 years worth of royalties. And now that the model's changed with Netflix and Amazon Prime and that, and people are getting paid a hell of a lot less in terms of royalties, I encourage you to listen to Sean Oliver's Kayfabe podcast, the episode I think it was with Ron Jeremy on it. He breaks down how the royalty system works now and the money you can make, as opposed to 15 years ago when you could make a significantly higher standard of living from it, and now you can barely make pittance because of the way the subscription model is. So imagine the Real McCoy cast could have been making money off them royalties for 30 years. So it's like, for me, the BBC, yeah, let's give ourselves a pat on the back for doing the bare minimums. And it's like, no. It's like, no. It's like bringing back the Real McCoy, yeah, that's all well and good, but what about diversity in the top roles? What about equal pay for men and women? What about diversity in the top roles within the BAME community? And it's okay, and for me, it's one of them ones where it's the same with the Premier League. Same with the Premier League in terms of bare minimums, putting Black Lives Matter on the front of the shirt, on a little badge on the front of shirts and on the back of shirts for around the games. As I said on Instagram, if the Premier League were serious about Black Lives Matter and that movement, then there would be more draconian and suitable sanctions for racism and racist behaviour. And there would also be a lot more diversity at top levels of the game. But all this bandwagon jumping, and even then the momentum's already slowing, but all this bandwagon jumping, oh yeah, let's do a token gesture. It's like the BBC, it's like I said, the BBC. Oh yeah, let's re-release the Real McCoy to show that Black Lives Matter. No, bro, that's a bare minimum. You're mocking. It's a bare minimum. Address diversity within your organisation. That's what you need to do. I'd gladly sacrifice the Real McCoy to have that. Also, with the Premier League as well, it's like these token gestures do nothing. Because they can be brought in, as soon as that, forgotten. There's been no rule change. There's been no rule changes or increases in penalties from the Premier League for racism during this time. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. They've had all the Black Lives Matter stuff on shirts, but there's been no real change. So it's one of them, and even recently, there's been a bit of controversy with the Premier League and the EFL as well. I might actually do another video blog on that. But the fact of the matter is, all of these bare minimum gestures putting something on the back of shirts, saying to players, "Oh, you need to take the knee" and all that. And it's like these literally are bare minimums, and entities should not be congratulated for doing the bare minimum. If they go above and beyond, by all means, congratulate them. But the fact is, Boris Johnson standing on his doorstep clapping for the NHS, mate, that's not even a bare minimum. That's mockage, especially when you bear in mind that back in May of 2020, May of this year, as recently as that, they were discussing public sector pay freezes, and guess what? The NHS falls into that. They were discussing pay freezes during the coronavirus pandemic. But yeah, they were like, yeah, we care about the NHS, so let's clap for them. It's like, no. I said it's one of them where it's just like, oh, it's an absolute disgrace. You know what? Comment section is below. I want to know what you guys think. Should entities like BBC, Premier League, among others, be congratulated for bare minimum actions? I don't think so, personally. I have been Straight Shootin LJA at SSLJA on Twitter, facebook.com/Straight Shootin, no G at the end of Shootin LJA. Well, that was. Thank you for your time, peeps, and I shall see you next time on the Straight Shootin Rants.